The world head of the Ahmadiyya Muslim community, His Holiness Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, may Allah be his helper, delivered a historic keynote address at the United Nations Educational, Scientific, and Cultural Organization headquarters in Paris. The event was attended by over 80 dignitaries and guests, including diplomats, politicians, and academics. At the outset of his address, His Holiness praised the founding principles of UNESCO.
The founding objectives of UNESCO are excellent and praiseworthy. Amongst its objectives, what I know are fostering peace and respect, promoting the rule of law, human rights, and education across the world. UNESCO also advocates for press freedom and protecting different cultures and heritage. Another of its stated goals is to eradicate poverty and to promote sustainable global growth and development, and to try to ensure that humanity leaves behind a positive legacy from which future generations can benefit.
Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, may Allah be his helper, went on to reference the Holy Quran and explained that it states that Allah the Almighty is the Lord of all the worlds, and hence Muslims believe him to be the creator and provider for all humankind, regardless of creed or color.
Given this, true Muslims firmly believe that all humans are born equal and that regardless of differences of belief, the values of mutual respect and tolerance must be firmly embedded within society.
Later in his address, His Holiness refuted the suggestion that Islam was an archaic and backwards religion, and one that did not promote intellectual advancement. His Holiness branded such a claim as a lazy stereotype that is based on fiction rather than fact.
The truth is that the Holy Quran and the teachings of the Holy Prophet of Islam, peace and blessing of Allah be upon him, inspired the works of generations of Muslims, intellectuals, philosophers, and inventors in the Middle Ages. Indeed, if we look back more than a millennium, we see how Muslims, scientists, and inventors played a fundamental role in advancing knowledge and developing technologies which transformed the world and remain in use today.
Concluding his speech, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, may Allah be his helper, called for a change in the priorities of mankind.
At the end, I pray with all my heart that mankind forsakes greed and forgoes the pursuit of narrow self-interest and instead focuses on relieving the pain and anguish of those who are suffering in the world.
After his historic address, MTA News spoke to those in attendance to get their reaction on His Holiness's words.
I was very interested in what he said during his speech, especially about education for girls and women. He talked a lot about respect, about solidarity, also between communities. He talked about the projects he had, the community had in Mali, for example. And so these words sounds to me because when we talk about Islam generally in France or in other countries, we talk about Islam in a way to stigmatize this religion and in a context of huge Islamophobia. So it was important to hear other words about Muslim community.
It was a great pleasure and a great honor to be invited here tonight at UNESCO and meet His Holiness. the leader of your community, and hear his speech, especially his speech about education and inclusive education, education of young girls around the world, and also the promotion of scientific education, which, as a scientist myself, is something that is very dear to me.
Well, we need to have this message from Islam, from another culture, another point of view of Islam. So it's a necessity for us to encourage Ahmadiyya community. I think Ahmadiyya has a good method to do something good for the other. Build school. I think it's a principal message. Build school, education, and knowledge also. It's so important.
But for me, first point is that peace starts with me. Means peace starts in our hearts, and peace starts in our family. And religion must help to create good families and educate, especially with education.